Hello, community. Happy Thursday to all of us. Welcome to today's community event on this YouTube live stream. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic. I hope your week has been great so far. We are always looking forward to these community events, as you know, as they always give us the opportunity to discuss about the industry that we are so passionate about, the crypto industry. And it also helps us to discuss our ecosystem that we so much embrace and have so much to talk about. And also gives us the opportunity to have a dialogue. You have the opportunity to ask questions, to add to today's, spice up today's event, as we use these community events to not just build up a global decentralized community, but to rather also ensure that we have a platform where we can all be informed, educated, and inspired, right? And it's always important for us to be on the same page, as we can grow at the same pace as well. And an informed and educated community is a strong community, right? So once again, I want to welcome all the veterans that are already part of this community, part of this ecosystem. Always a pleasure seeing you all here. I also want to welcome those that are new in the community. Feel right at home. We are happy to have you all here with us as well, and join us on our various platforms, as we are extremely active on not just on YouTube, as you see here. We're also very active on Twitter, and we're also very active on Telegram as well. So feel free to join our socials. And also talking about socials, we have tweeting events every evening. So all tweets are out, community. As you know, Bullrun is out, Killer Whale is out, Survivor is out as well. Let's ensure that we interact with these tweets, as they'll reach as many people as possible. And that's the aim, right? Our aim is to reach as many people as possible, keep them informed, educated, and inspired, and hold a dialogue, have a platform that we can have a dialogue as a crypto community, and we can grow together, right? With that said, as always, now that we're growing so heavily as a community, we won't go through the comments first. We will come full circle. We'll come back to the comments at the end. We like to jump right into today's topic, but rest assured, we will go through every single comment as always. So let's ensure that we leave comments out there. If you have any questions, post them on there as well. We'll go through every single one of them. So with that said, once more, happy Thursday. Happy having you all here today. We have a great topic, as we gave it away, a new era of liquidity. And the simple reason for this topic today, of course, is what happened yesterday. The interest rates were cut for the first time in 4 years. We're going to jump into that topic and really dissect it, look at it in detail. What's our next move forward? What are we anticipating? What can we expect? Let's look beyond the interest rate cuts, right? And let's identify how we can position ourselves, and what's ahead of us, and how we can embrace it. And then we'll zoom in, of course, and then look at our ecosystem and how our ecosystem is embracing it, and how we can utilize our ecosystem to make the most out of this new era of liquidity, right? So with that said, let's jump right into today's session. As always, before let me share my screen, and before we go into the thick of things, I would like us to just briefly go through the coin market cap, and then just touch on one or two topics before we get to today's topic. There's really not much to discuss here. As we can see, the market is up 5.5% for the day. We're up to 2.2 trillion again from 2 trillion. So the market has responded, or is still responding, very well to yesterday's interest rate cut. And the veterans, or those that have been with us in the community, already know what this means. We've been waiting for this for the longest. And before we get ahead of ourselves, we'll get to that topic briefly. But first of all, I just want us to see how I just wanted to show us how the effect on the market is great. The fear and greed index went from fearful to neutral right now. The markets have been really going up nicely. Bitcoin literally went from 59,000 to over 63 right now. Ethereum for the first time broke the 2,400 barrier, and it's at 2477 right now. The market is green. So this is great, community, right? So before we get to today's topic and really dissect and understand what it means now that we're in a new era right now, or an era of liquidity, right? And we always want to go beyond the hype, beyond the news, and really ask the questions, the hows, the wheres, the whys, right? We need to understand things, because it's only then when we really understand things and why they happen, and what's happening now beyond the interest rate cuts, and what can we anticipate, what can we expect. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but we always look based on past events, past history, and usually that's exactly what happens. And one thing we know for sure is that what triggers economies is liquidity, right? We'll get to that. So before we get to today's topic, let's first look at a few topics here that are really, like are hot right now in the industry. And also, we have some sort of, it doesn't affect us directly, but it's always good to understand what's going on in the industry. So let's look at one and two topics that really, actually, the second one affects us directly because we are paired to the USDC stablecoin. But this first one is just to look at what's happening right now in the industry, right? And the difference between centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges, right? So right now, what's happening in the industry is like the Tron CEO, known as Justin Sun, he's been criticizing the Coinbase for ignoring proof of reserves, right? So to understand really what proof of reserves are, let me just quickly go to DEX tools. It's as simple as this. And this is the beautiful thing about decentralized finance, right? In decentralized finance, proof of reserve is public information. You just come here, for example, to DEX tools, and you see the liquidity right here. You see how much liquidity is there, and boom, that's a proof of reserve. Everybody can publicly see. It's open for everyone. You can just see how much liquidity BRL has, for example. Of course, you can do the same thing for Killer Whale and Survivor. You just come to DEX tools, and everybody can verify and see, okay, fine, there is liquidity here, right? And it benefits the entire community. And this liquidity is put to use, right? Immediately. It's not sitting somewhere idle. It's not being used. It's being effective. It's being used. It can be verified. Everybody can see it. You can even take it to the next step and even verify how long is it being locked, for, and all that to have extra security, right? And you can see that it's locked for 98 months. So way over eight years, right? And this is what is so good about DeFi, about decentralized finance. You can verify things for yourself. It gives you that assurance. You gain that trust. You can come here, verify what's the liquidity. Boom, 466,000. How long is it locked? Yes. How long? Boom, 98 months. Great. I'm relaxed. I verified it for myself. I don't need no audits. I don't need no verification. I don't need no proof of reserves. I don't need that, right? So that's just to show you in DeFi, proving proof of reserves is so easy, and it's open, it's transparent, right? You can verify it and relax, right? However, it's not the same for centralized exchanges. That's not the case. So this is the thing that is going back and forth. And why is it so relevant to us? Because Coinbase, like we say, the Justin Sun is the Tron, is the founder of Tron, by the way, right? And he's criticizing Coinbase for not implementing proof of reserves, despite industry-wide adoption, especially, now this is the issue here. After the FTX collapse, centralized exchanges have a very bad reputation, right? Because FTX was claiming that they were not commingling customer funds and everything was good. Trust me, bro, and all that, right? However, trust is what you don't want to avoid. So proof of reserves were put as a standard, and it was actually CZ, the former Binance CEO, who actually came up with the concept, and it became industry-wide adoption. It was industry-wide adopted because after the FTX collapse, centralized exchanges had a bad reputation, right? So anyway, Justin Sun emphasizes that the proof of reserves are important in preventing incidents like the one that happened with FTX, right? And argues that public audits aren't enough for transparency because public audits are done annually, once a year, right? So, and these are scheduled. You know exactly when the auditor is coming, right? Because I used to be an auditor myself too. So you have a schedule, you know exactly Friday, 13th, this is when you're going to look at Coinbase, and you prepare everything. So usually what happens is, this is the thing, to have so much Bitcoin or crypto assets sitting idle, not generating any revenue, just locked away in a cold wallet, it doesn't generate revenue. It's bad business, right? So this is why or Coinbase in this case, doesn't want to show the proof of reserves. Maybe this is just assumption, right? Because they have their assets generating revenue elsewhere, right? They don't want to don't want it to sit idle, not just collecting dust, but they want to put it to work, right? So this has caused a lot of back and forth in the industry. And another thing I just want to highlight, the reason why, and like we said, the CEO, of course, he responded saying that the company relies on its business model and regular audits to attract institutional investors, and he completely dismissed the need for proof of reserves, right? So, and again, Justin keeps saying that it's inadequate in preventing risk, similar to the one of FTX, which collapsed after using user funds to cover its own losses, right? Which resulted in liquidity crisis. And they were being audited. Obviously, they were being audited as well, apparently. So that doesn't mean much, right? So Sun also pointed out that regular audits alone aren't enough to ensure financial transparency, urging Coinbase to adopt proof of reserves as a safeguard. He further rejected the notion that Coinbase, as a publicly traded company, is immune to bankruptcy. We all know that this is not true, right? How many companies do we know, like Lehman Brothers? They were highly regulated and they were a public company, but they still went bust, right? FTX was always in talks with Gary Gensler. They had like 3 different meetings, and they were also regulated and all that, but it still went belly up. So this is the case that Justin Sun is trying to make. So using Signature Bank also, of course, it collapsed as well. And also it was a regulated institution. However, it still failed, right? So why is this such a big deal, actually? It's because not just FTX, but most importantly, it's because the new product that that Coinbase came up with, right? The CBBTC. This really causing a lot of confusion in the markets, right? Because Justin, he keeps remarking that from recent assertions by Coinbase founder Brian, who acknowledged the company relies on annual audits but dismisses proof of reserves, Armstrong was defending against accusations levied on Coinbase recently launching the Bitcoin wrapper, right? The Coinbase BTC. This is the whole issue now. So what people want to understand is that does Coinbase really have the reserves to back this wrapped Bitcoin? Because they have to have reserves 1-to-1, right? So this is what's causing all this commotion, right? Sun's bone of contention, like we said, is that the CBBTC lacks proof of reserves. It has no audits, which means it could, and this is the big deal. So, and he doesn't want to, he describes the CBBTC as trust me Bitcoin, right? Implying that the US government can subpoena everything and we can lose everything, right? So, and does Coinbase really have the reserves to back the wrapped Bitcoin? And this is exactly what's been causing a lot of commotion in the industry. And why did I bring this up? Is because this just shows again how advanced and how valuable DeFi is, decentralized finance. It's transparent. You don't have to trust an institution, a centralized institution, and it speaks for yourself. You just come here and it verifies how much you have. And even if you go to Etherscan, you come to holders, you realize that you see the Uniswap V2, you can verify that, okay, the liquidity is here. There is liquidity. How much is left? You can verify it. It's a smart contract on Uniswap, and you're interacting directly with a smart contract. You don't have to trust anyone. You don't have to go through a centralized entity. You don't need a third party. It's your own asset that you control, your own bank. You realize we're going back to the topic that we had previously, right? So if Coinbase was to go bankrupt right now, you part of that BTC, CB BTC that they have, and they refuse to show you, or they rather even ignoring the proof of reserves, and they literally telling you, just trust us. We are a public company, so trust us. And this is exactly what we were discussing, that you're not supposed to trust. You should be able to verify. If you can't verify, and if you're not dealing with a smart contract, and if you don't have access to your assets, and being in charge, being your own bank, like we discussed, this is the whole purpose of the blockchain technology. This is the whole idea, right? This is the meaning of it. So while centralized exchanges are going back and forth and are arguing, DeFi is busy building trust, and you can verify on different fronts, right? Through DEX tools, or you can go directly on the Etherscan and verify it on the blockchain, because this is a smart contract right here, right? You can click on it. You can click here again. You see it's a smart contract, so you're interacting with a smart contract, right? And you can see right here how much USDC are in the liquidity, 233,000. How much BRL is there? 151,000. Let me verify. Let me come here. Yes, 233,000, and right, pooled USDC, as you see here, and pooled BRL is 151. Can I verify it? Yes, I can. You come to Etherscan on the blockchain, you can verify everything. Cool, very good, right? So this is how it works, community. If you can't verify it, stay away from it. And this is exactly what this message is. We already experienced FTX collapsing in November 22, and many crypto firms began disclosing proof of reserves, right? And it became a standard. This was to reassure investors about their financial transparency, right? And these reports typically included details about internal controls and risk management practices. You have to do this if you're off-chain. But if you're on-chain, anybody can just go and verify. Not a big deal. You can verify it like we just showed you. And this is what this is all about. So while this is the reason why blockchain technology is so advanced, right? You don't have to go and argue publicly, going back and forth. In DeFi, you can just jump there, verify for yourself, done deal. It takes you less than a minute, right? And this is the beautiful thing about DeFi. Moving forward, it's a technology that is transparent, trustless. You're dealing with smart contracts directly. You don't have to trust third parties. You don't have to go through all these risks that are prevalent. You know, you hold your own assets in your own DeFi wallet, and you have full control as a bank. You're your own bank, right? Let's keep this in mind, community. And this is the whole takeaway from this article. That's it, right? So proof of reserves, in DeFi, we have it, right? We have it all the time. We can verify it. So this is the takeaway from this article. Now, let's move to something else. I say the second article is, we are directly involved in it because one of our three cryptocurrencies, which is Bullrun, is paired with USDC directly. Why am I sharing this article with you? It's because the more USDC is adopted globally, or the more use cases USDC has, guess what? The better for us, because we have a staking platform that issues USDC distributions. So the more use cases that USDC has on a global scale, the better for us as an ecosystem as well, right? So this article, the takeaway is that USDC is now available in Brazil and Mexico, but it goes deeper than that, because now they're not just available for trading, but it's through national payment systems. This is big, community. This is really big, and with their local currencies, right? So let's look at a few things that really makes this a big deal. So this means that businesses can now access USDC, right? This is the second largest regulated. It's actually the world's largest regulated digital dollar, because Tether is the largest. However, Tether is not regulated at all, and they don't have the MiCA license either in Europe. So if you just look at the regulated stablecoin, USDC is the largest regulated. This is why they put it in like an asterisk there, right? But what we want to take away, the takeaway here is that Circle now supports local bank transfers via the PIX or the SPEI, national real-time payment systems. This is in Brazil and Mexico, respectively. For those who are in Kenya, for example, their payment system is known as, especially the mobile payment system, is M-Pesa, right? So picture M-Pesa adopting USDC. So you can really send back and forth, USDC back and forth, right? So that's the same concept. So not only is USDC partnered with their local banks right there, but it's also integrated in their local bank transfers as well, using real-time payments, right? So this eliminates international wires, of course, and this reduces time and money, right? And you have access to USDC immediately. So instead of waiting for days for your checks to clear and all of that, it's now just a matter of minutes, right? And this releases capital, of course, that was untapped, and it just smoothens the effort. So this is great, right? So Circle offers access to USDC directly from Brazilian Reais, and ironically it's BRL, right? So we already doing some commercial here, BRL, and Mexico pesos, of course, at competitive rates, thereby avoiding the necessity you don't even have to convert the local currency to US dollar, right? So it does that automatically. This allows businesses to save on cost and benefits from the use of digital dollar in their operations. This is huge. And if we look at numbers, Mexico alone is the largest trading partner for US, and it's trading over 800 billion US dollars annually. And guess what? With this partnership now, with the banks and being integrated in Mexico's and Brazil's payment systems, this is going to go through stablecoin, through Circle, right? And Mexico alone is processing 800 billion annually, and Brazil 640 billion. So this is major. This is very, very good for USDC. The more exposure, utilities, use cases USDC has, the better exposure for us, because we have an efficient staking platform with USDC distributions. So this is attractive for individuals in Brazil, in Mexico. Once they see that, oh, this BRL ecosystem, they're issuing USDC, it's interesting, right? So it's this is major. And what makes this a big deal is because they're directly implementing their national retail payment system in Brazil and Mexico. It's not just an exchange that is trading cryptocurrencies in Brazil and Mexico, but no, they're integrated in their national real-time payment systems, So this is big, community. This is really big for us, since we are individuals that have a sustainable and efficient staking platform that issues USDC distributions. So this is huge for us, community. And to take this apart, this is just Mexico and Brazil. Now let's look at this second one. This one is also just came out today. Now you can send, first of all, Circle partnered, MoonPay partnered with Suku World, right? And Circle already, which is the USDC issuer, partnered with MoonPay. We all know MoonPay, those who are using Trust Wallet and all that, or MetaMask. So now you can send USDC to anyone just with a text, right? Now, this now covers Europe, and it's live today. And Europe, of course, covers over 27 countries, right? And now you can send USDC using smoothly, and it's an on and off ramp, of course, as well. And now you can send it so efficiently, just like for the Kenyans already, they're familiar with M-Pesa, and they've been already having this technology for years. So, but finally now in Europe as well, you can now send text messages, and you can send USDC stablecoin through as easy as through text message, right? And this is another huge benefit for USDC. And what's good for USDC is good for us. It's great publicity for us because it gives USDC more use cases, more utilities, and it's just since it's so highly regulated and has MiCA license, it can operate and have such utilities in Europe, right? And also across, not just in the US, of course, it's heavily regulated in the US, which is the largest financial market in the world, but now it also captured Europe, and now it's capturing South America as well, mainly Brazil and Mexico as well. So all of these are great steps for us, especially now that we're entering this new era of liquidity. The more exposure and the more utilities and use cases USDC have, the better for us, because we are that ecosystem that has an efficient and sustainable staking platform that issues out USDC distributions, right? And this is great. This is good news for us. So now that we have all of this out of the way, community, let's get to actually today's topic. Let's get to today's topic, right? And today we want to understand, okay, the Feds, they slashed interest rates, right, by 0.5%. And of course, this was an aggressive start, right, to its first easing campaign in 4 years. And this is the big deal. There hasn't been any interest rate cuts in 4 years, community. This is a big deal. And if we look at, we always have to go back and look at history, right? We always have to go back and look at history. First of all, before we go there, let's paint the picture here. Let's set the stage. Like it says here, the last time interest rates were cut was 4 years ago. That was in the middle of a bull cycle, of COVID, right? And we'll look at history in a few moments. What we need to understand here is that we officially are in a new era, community. And this era is an era of liquidity. And we as a community, we all understand, because this is our mantra. We always talk about liquidity all the time. But now officially, the Feds have cut the interest rates. And we as a community and we as an industry, we all know what that means, right? That means that whenever you cut interest rates, you open the floodgates for liquidity, right? You open the floodgates for cash and for credit. That's liquidity. And what stimulates economies? It's liquidity, right? And this is exactly what happens if interest rates get cut. That's how you stimulate the economy. And that means that there's money printing coming. Fiat currencies are about to be flooded into the economy, and our money becomes cheaper, more readily available. Interest rates are lower, meaning that you can buy that home, you can lease that vehicle, you can pile up more debts on your credit card because the interest rates are lower, right? I'm being ironic now. Of course, debt is horrible. Stay away from debt. right? But the point here is that we're entering a new era, community, and this era is an era of liquidity, easy money, lower interest, more better access to cash and credit. And the beneficiaries of these times are all asset classes, but one in particular, and that's the crypto industry, right? And we're about to look at this in more detail. So first of all, we've come a long way to experience this time that we've been waiting for so long, and now officially we are part of this new liquid era. So the last time this happens was 4 years ago, and this was obviously in the early days of COVID. And let's look at some history. Let's look at some backstories. So as we see here, first of all, many anticipated 0.25 to be cut. Now with a 0.5%, the double of that being cut, there is still some mixed opinions, right? This is why at the beginning, the market wasn't pumping. It was like the market was confused. Okay, what's happening here? Is it good? Is it bad? Why was it a 0.5% interest rate cut, right? So at the beginning, Bitcoin wasn't pumping. The market wasn't pumping at all. It wasn't moving at all yesterday. It just started today, actually. It really started pumping now, right? Especially after Jerome Powell was being questioned, okay, what's going on? Why 0.5%? What does that mean? Are you trying to play catch-up game? Are we about to experience a recession, etc., etc.? So there were a lot of questions, uncertainties going on in people's minds. And finally, after all the dust settles and all the fears are gone, now the market has been starting to pump, right? Now, let's look at some history here. Like we said, last time this happened was outside of the emergency rate reduction during COVID, like we said, right? The last time FOMC cut by half a point was back in 2008. And this was when? During the global financial crisis, right? And we can actually take it even one step further. They also in 2001 is when the Feds also did an emergency rate cut in 2001. What happened in 2001? That was right after the dot-com bubble, right? So what happened after the dot-com bubble? We experienced a multi-year boom, right? We had a boom until 2008. And then during the 2000 financial crisis, there was an emergency reduction, right? And they cut the interest rate also like yesterday by 0.5 point. What happened after the housing crisis? We experienced another multi-year boom, right? Until when? Until COVID. And what happened after the interest rate cuts during COVID? We experienced the largest bull cycle ever in the history of cryptocurrencies in the crypto industry. So do you see this pattern? Each time we came out of a crisis and there was a 0.5% interest rate cut, such as 2001 after the dot-com bubble, such as 2008 after the global financial crisis, and after COVID, we always had multi-year bull cycles, all 3 times, right? And this is, like we say, nothing is guaranteed. But if you go based on history, and we always have to go back and look at history, you realize very quickly that, okay, these patterns are in our favor, right? These patterns are literally rooting for us, because one thing for sure is that there is no reason for panic right now, at least based on the Fed's discussion yesterday. And let's look at that, right? So next step now is, now that the interest rates are cut for the first time in 4 years, right? Why is everyone so super excited about it? Why are economies so stimulated about liquidity, right? Like we see, why is the markets are booming right now? Things are going up. Why is that the case? Ask yourself that. And one thing we need to know also, and we'll get to that, is that all assets are going to rise, whether it's real estate, whether it's a gold, whether it's the stock market, whether it's bond market, right? All assets are getting ready to rise. However, one in particular asset class is going to outpace every single one of them. And we'll get to that shortly. And that's obviously the crypto industry, right? But before we get to that, after the Fed's interest rate cut, Bitcoin jumps amid renewed optimism, right? So this is something I really want us to take time and look at. So what happens is that right after, like an hour after Federal Reserve's historic announcement declaring that the interest rates would be slashed by half a percentage, which was yesterday, Bitcoin jumped by almost 2,000, right? From 59,000 to 61,000. Like I said, it went sideways and it kept on going back down again because unsure. The 0.5 caught people off guard because nobody really, people anticipated it, yes. However, it wasn't sure because usually the Feds don't really cut 0.5% interest just for no reason, right? We just looked at history and we looked at when they cut 0.5%. It was usually during major crises like the 2008 crisis, the dot-com bubble, or during COVID. That was the only time the Feds cut by 0.5 point, right? So people are asking themselves, why are we facing a crisis? Are we about to get into a recession? What's happening? What's going on? So this is why at first the market wasn't responding to it. And eventually now it's picking up and we are still above 63,000. Like we saw at 63.6 right now, right? So, and also what does this mean also? This means that what we need to also understand is that the fourth quarter of this year is likely to bring accelerated inflows in Bitcoin ETFs as well, right? Also, Ethereum, of course, might also benefit from the increased inflows, right? And why is that the case? Because the market dynamics will bring more capital, will bring more liquidity into the crypto space. And usually more riskier assets, such as the crypto industry is the riskiest asset class, are going to benefit the most, right? And historically, fourth quarter, like we're in right now, has often been a strong period for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. And Bitcoin in particular had an average price increase in the fourth quarter of 90% on average for the past 10 years. So if you look at average, if you average out the last 10 years, Bitcoin has been increasing in price in the last quarter of the bull cycle by 90%. So, and we all know that Bitcoin has a dominance of 57% right now. So what does that mean? That means whatever Bitcoin does, it pulls everybody else along with it, right? So raising tide lifts all boats, right? And this will just bring more awareness, and people like to see Bitcoin price go up. It's an attraction. And now our influencers are the likes of Jamie Dimon, Larry Fink. These are major individuals that have major influence, right? And they're the ones now preaching the good news out there on CNBC, on CNN, and talking about how great Bitcoin is in the crypto industry and how the blockchain technology is going to be used, especially Ethereum, to tokenize various assets, bring liquidity into the industry, and change the world, right? So all this is great for us because not only is crypto legitimized by being traded now on stock exchanges through ETFs, but also large institutions such as influential institutions such as BlackRock, JP Morgan, Visa, Swift, PayPal, all of them are heavily invested and are literally talking about how great Bitcoin is, the cryptocurrency industry, the blockchain technology, and they are all heavily invested into this industry, right? So this is one thing that I also want us to understand, that is historically, if we look at the past, the crypto in the fourth quarter, usually cryptocurrencies have been really picking up nicely because everything goes in line with the liquidity, with how the liquidity is being injected. And now with the interest rate cuts, this makes even more sense, right? And also, this year, we're entering the fourth quarter from a relatively low price level. Now, keep in mind, we already hit all-time high in March. And this only happened because the ETFs, the Bitcoin ETFs, of course, this pushed Bitcoin to all-time highs way before April, when we had the Bitcoin halving. And this has never happened before in the history of Bitcoin cycles, right? Bitcoin usually hits all-time high months after the Bitcoin halving. But this year, it did whatever it wanted to do. It hit all-time high way before the Bitcoin halving. And actually, the Bitcoin halving event was a sell the news event. Actually, it dropped right on the news. And it never went back to all-time high after that. And this is something that we need to understand, that and keep these factors in mind, right? But however, we can see there's a big chance, a significant chance, we could see a price surge during the remainder of the year, and potentially even pushing Bitcoin towards another all-time high, right? And why is this the case? Because Bitcoin also has a favorable environment thanks to liquidity, right? So a 0.5% cut is a positive surprise, and represents an easing of liquidity conditions. And this is exactly the era that we're talking about. It's a new era of liquidity that we're getting in. And easing interest rates means easing liquidity, right? It's cheaper, readily available, and this is exactly what we want. Why is this so important? It's because Bitcoin is highly correlated to liquidity, right? So a liquid environment, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies feel comfortable in a liquid environment. And this should support higher Bitcoin prices and cryptocurrency prices, of course, into the end of the year and beyond, right? This sounds so good, and but let's not take their word for it. Let's verify what's just been said. How can we verify this the best? The best way to verify what we just said, how important liquidity is, and how favorable cryptocurrencies are thanks to the liquidity, right? And how Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies generally are highly correlated to a liquid environment. Let's not believe this, because this is something that our community always talks about, right? We always talk about how liquidity affects the price. We read how Bitcoin is highly correlated to liquidity environment and cryptocurrencies in general. We all know that the crypto industry is the asset class that is going to benefit the most from this liquidity era, due to their risk assets, them being risk assets, and having such a small market cap. We are barely at 2 trillion in market cap. Apple alone is over 3 trillion, just one company. So this shows you that the entire crypto industry is at 2 trillion market cap. So community, we have so much room for growth. And it being such a young industry, such a young asset class, at the same time, it's a technology too. Keep this in mind. This is a technology we are talking about. It's not just an asset class. So you can invest in it. And we're already in it. And we're in the right industry, on the right blockchain, right? Because this blockchain is the one that JP Morgan and PayPal and Sony and BlackRock chose to develop on, right? So this means that all this liquidity that is about to come to us, right, using the global liquidity M2, we're about to look at this chart and in more detail in a little bit. This is just showing us that you have to really have the perfect timing. Timing is key. Be in the right industry at the right time, on the right blockchain, right? And then have the right ecosystem the right platform that will make the most out of this, right? So all of these factors have to fall in line and be in place, but one step at a time. Right now, now that we understood how Bitcoin and cryptocurrency flourishes and it's highly correlated to the liquidity environment, let's not take their word for it, right? Let's verify. And the best way to verify that is by really looking at the global M2 money supply versus the Bitcoin price, because we just heard that it's correlated, meaning that if there's a lot of liquidity entering the global liquidity market, the Bitcoin price is supposed to increase, right? And if there's less liquidity in the market, the Bitcoin price decreases, right? And there's no better chart to use than the M2 money supply. And this just shows you and proves and verifies literally that you see here in black, this is the M2 money supply, the global money supply. You see how it's slow but steadily been increasing over time, right? And so has the Bitcoin price. And you see how it started slowly and now it's just picking up amazingly, right? Especially, and you can really just see right here. If you go here, you see how this was 2016. You can see how right after, you can time the bull markets, right? You see how during the bull markets, it was just going up the most. And this is the time where the most money printing happened, because this was right after COVID, right? Right before, in the early days of COVID. And there's no amount of money that has been flooded in the market so much like during the COVID time. And look at how it just exploded. The Bitcoin price just went up rapidly. So this is why we say, whenever you see crisis, right? Whenever there's you see like historically you see that there has been crisis, right? Like we say, be it a COVID pandemic, banking crisis, and you realize there's a 0.5 point cut, just like it happened yesterday. This is good news for us, because the only time that happened was during COVID and financial crisis 2008. And looking at the money supply, you see that during COVID, this is when Bitcoin price increased the most. This is where it picked up the most, right? And you see that it's still on the same level in 2022 as it is today, 2 years later, right? And actually in 2021, this was still 2021, end of November 2021, it's still at the same stage like it is 3 years ago. This just shows you the importance of injection of liquidity. So, and you see how since 2021, it just increased the most. This was the largest bull cycle ever. And the interest rates were cut by, like we see here, it was cut by 0.5%, right? Both during 2008 crisis and during COVID. And as you see this money supply, you see that 2008 is not even on the chart, but you would have seen the growth as well. However, you can see during COVID how large this was, right? And this is the good thing about this community. So we need to really understand that. Now that we've discussed this community, it's time to really zoom in, right? Crypto always goes up based on liquidity, right? Now that we've verified that, crypto, Bitcoin and the crypto industry, it goes up based on liquidity, and it's highly correlated to the liquidity environment, right? Now that we understand that, and this is also why Bitcoin has been outperforming every single other asset class in the financial industry, is because it's so correlated to liquidity. So whenever you see liquidity going up, the money supply going up, it correlates directly to the crypto industry, led by Bitcoin. Now that we understand that, now imagine having an ecosystem where you can capture all that liquidity in one place for the community to trade with. And you use that volume that is generated using that liquidity to do three things: retain even more liquidity, burn even more tokens, accumulate more USDC distributions. And you're doing this efficiently and sustainably because you're using your trading volume efficiently. We just mentioned the 4 challenges that are plaguing the industry community. And which cryptocurrency, which ecosystem is doing that in spades? Now, this brings us to zooming in into our ecosystem. That's the Bullrun ecosystem. It's the only ecosystem right now in the industry that is literally accumulating, capturing liquidity, putting it all in one place, keeping it in the ecosystem, right? We just learned how, and we just looked at the money supply, right? We just looked at the M2 money supply, and we see how correlated Bitcoin is. We just verified this sentence. We just verified it. It's true. The more liquidity enters the place, the higher the Bitcoin price and other crypto assets have been going. Now that we understand this, do we really realize the importance of retaining liquidity? This means that as long as there is liquidity circulating, Bitcoin's price and the rest of cryptocurrency prices are going to keep on rising, right? Of course, that's not affecting every single cryptocurrency. You have to have an efficient and sustainable ecosystem, of course. You have to have some sort of burning mechanisms. You have to solve the 4 challenges in the industry to really make the most out of all of this, of course, right? And this is why we highlighted those 4 challenges, which is lack of liquidity, inflation, unsustainable staking distributions, inefficient use of volume. If you can tackle these 4 challenges, and we understand how now that we're in the liquidity environment that we are in right now that interest rates are being cut, and especially they're being cut by 0.5%. The last time 0.5% of interest rate was cut was during the largest bull cycles in the history of finance. That was after the financial crisis, and that was during COVID, right? And what does that mean? What does that tell us? We can anticipate another large liquidity event, large bull cycle that has the capability of going a multi-year bull cycle. Why is that the case? Because the Feds already said that they're going to go beyond 2024. They're going to keep cutting interest rates beyond 2024. And they're also going to continue cutting interest rates in 2025 as well. And then also in 2026 as well, right? So actually they said here that they're going to cut another full percentage point in cuts by the end of 2025, and then another 0.5 point in 2026. All in all, they are planning to cut about 2 percentage points beyond yesterday's move. So what does this tell you? That it tells you that we are going to experience a multi-year bull cycle. There's a potential, because as long as interest rates are being cut, that means that money becomes cheaper and cheaper, right? And that means more and more liquidity is going to be implemented or gushed into the economy. And we all understand that liquidity is highly correlated with cryptocurrency, right? So what does this mean to us? This means that we need a platform. We need to be part of an ecosystem that is going to retain all of this liquidity and make the best out of it, right? We need to understand this. And like we say, now that imagine we have an ecosystem where we can capture all this liquidity that is about to get loose, and we keep it and capture it in our community. We don't let it go, so that our community member can trade with it. And now that we understand that as long as there is liquidity that is highly correlated to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency, this supports higher Bitcoin prices, right? And what does this tell us? That our ecosystem that is heavily focusing on multiple things, mainly retention of liquidity, right? This is how we are tackling the lack of liquidity challenge. And also, we need scarcity. Why has Bitcoin been outperforming all asset classes? Because Bitcoin has a max supply. Bitcoin has a very low inflation rate, right? And this is what makes it so interesting. There is no asset out there that has a limit supply like 21 million like Bitcoin has. This makes Bitcoin unique. Now, how about an asset that is actually scarce, right? There is no asset that is scarce out there. How many assets do we know that is actually scarce? That started with 1 million in supply, but now if you look at Etherscan, like you can verify, it's down to 966,000. So these are aspects that are very important to have within an asset, right? So of course, all assets are going to skyrocket. All of them, all assets are going to, because cryptocurrencies are highly correlated to liquidity and other assets as well. However, the crypto industry is going to benefit the most. They're going to benefit the most. And history proves that Bitcoin alone, within the past 10 years, has been increasing by 90% in the last quarter alone, right? So we need to understand that right now, the liquidity floodgates have been opened by the interest rates being cut. We understand also that the last time 0.5% was cut was during financial crisis. And what happens during the last one, like we just saw, was the largest bull cycle ever. This cycle is going to be even beyond. Why? Because now institutions are involved, right? Now stablecoin regulations are involved, and stablecoins are required to purchase even more debts, right? Liquidity funds are being also put out right now, right? And these liquidity funds are led by the likes of JP Morgan and BlackRock. And which platform did they choose to deploy those funds on, those liquidity funds in? It's Ethereum, right? Right now, Ethereum hasn't been doing well. It's been really lacking and sluggishly behind Bitcoin. However, the good news is that, and what people tend to forget, when Bitcoin ETFs were issued, we had months, right? We knew it months ahead. There was a lot of advertisements going on. All these asset managers, all of them were doing commercials. They were parading. They had all the time. Everybody knew, anticipated it. This is why Bitcoin even hit all-time high way before Bitcoin halving. But when Ethereum ETFs came, nobody anticipated it. Everything happened within 48 hours, right? And everything happened so quickly. Nobody anticipated. There was no commercials. There was no anticipation. There were no months in advance giving people a heads up. Everything happened so quickly. So we need to also understand that. And also, when the ETFs came out, keep in mind that was also when the Japan crisis came, right? When the entire market crashed and everything went down. So Ethereum, its launch was not perfectly timed. Actually, it was a very bad timing. And we need to understand that and also keep that in mind and price that in. Nonetheless, what the good news about Ethereum is that, excuse me, it's starting to be, you see how the curve has been going steeply up? It's starting to curve back down, right? And we see that it's burning more again, 250 right now. And it's slowing down and it's becoming more deflationary right now. This means because there's more activities on the chain, it starts curving back down. It starts slowing down in issuing too many tokens by burning more, right, in turn. And this is exactly the beautiful thing about Ethereum. The more it's being used, the more deflationary it will become, and it becomes, right? So, community, what am I saying with this? Where am I heading with this? What I'm saying is really straightforward. We are entering a new era, a new time. of liquidity. There's a new era of liquidity. Whenever there's liquidity in the markets, this affects assets in general highly, but most importantly, it affects crypto assets extremely, right? And the liquidity is highly correlated with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And this is why crypto assets are always the ones that make the most out of these liquidity cycles, right? And what we're about to experience is that with this empty money supply increasing, this means that we are about to experience a large wave of influx of liquidity. And the last time interest rates were cut by 0.5% was during major crisis events. Last time was in COVID. And what happens during COVID, we just looked at the M2 chart, it gained the most ever since in the history of Bitcoin, in the history of cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin grew the most during the time where there was a lot of money printing going on. And this is exactly what we are about to experience as well in the next few weeks, the next few months, right? And we know that the entire 2024, there's 2 more cuts coming this year. There's another full percent to be cut 2025, and it goes beyond 2026 as well, right? So as long as there's interest rate cuts, meaning the money supply, credit and cash becomes cheaper and cheaper. Once we experience that, we all know what that means. That means we're experiencing a flooding of funds. And if you have an ecosystem that is literally developed to retain liquidity, and now that we understand that liquidity and volume goes hand in hand, and we've proven it by showing you here, even today, Tether only has 119 billion in market cap. However, what's its volume? Look at Tether volume, over 73 billion, right? Even if you put Ethereum and Bitcoin's volume, you combine them together, they're still short by 7 billion in volume. So Tether alone has more 7 billion more volume than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined. So why is that the case? Because Tether is extremely liquid. So if you have a liquid asset, if you're gaining on liquidity, volume is just natural. Volume is the side effect of deep liquidity. So this is why you need to focus on retaining liquidity. The more liquidity you have, guess what? The higher your volume naturally. But the more illiquid you, and even though Bitcoin has a 1.2 trillion in market cap, which is actually exactly 10 times more than Tether has, still Tether has 30 billion more trading volume than Bitcoin. So it just shows you market cap is irrelevant. Focus on retention of liquidity. And this is exactly what we're doing. And especially now that we're experiencing this interest rate cut and this money flooding, this new era of liquidity, this is where our ecosystem is at its best, right? Because it literally retains liquidity for the simple reason because we understand that the more liquidity you retain, the higher your volume will be. Why are we so focusing on volume? Because we have our ecosystem uses the volume efficiently. The more volume we have, the more liquidity we'll be retaining, the more bonds will be happening, and the more USDC distributions will be accumulating. Why is that such an important factor? It's because in the crypto industry, you have 3 types of community members. You have a community member that is here to trade. They're happy because now they have an ecosystem where there's so much liquidity and they don't have to panic or worry about not having enough liquidity to enter and exit their position, right? So the trader is happy because and confident because first of all, like we looked at it, you can verify, okay, what's the liquidity? Okay, how long is it locked for? Perfect, right? I'm good to go. Let me trade. And so traders can trade. There's deep liquidity. They can verify it both on DEX tools or even on Etherscan itself. They can come here and look at the second wallet. It's a smart contract, and they can verify how much liquidity is here, like we showed you, right? You come here, you click on the smart contract, You realize, okay, this is a smart contract. This is the liquidity pool on Uniswap. Let's verify. Look at the USDC amount, 233,000 USDC. Bullrun, 151,000. You can verify. Boom, you come back here, 233,000, 151,000. You can verify it, right? You don't have to go through what Coinbase and Justin Sun are going through back and forth arguing on Twitter. In DeFi, you don't have to go through all that hustle. You can just come and verify yourself. So this is important, that we are retaining liquidity, entering this era of liquidity. More liquidity you have, the more volume you have. The more volume you have, the more liquidity you retain. So back again, the first is the trader. They're happy, they can trade, there's enough liquidity. Second is the holder. They don't want to trade, they don't want to stake, they just want to hold, right? Why are they excited? Because they're holding a scarce asset. With every trade, the more the trader is trading, the scarcer the supply becomes. So the holder is happy because they're holding a supply or an asset that becomes scarcer with every trade. And we all know what happens if your supply shrinks and you have a scarce supply. We all understand what that means, right? And now you have the staker, the person who they just love to stake. They're happy too, because now you have the holder who is a diamond hand, they're holding. You have the trader, they're happy. The trader are happy too, they have deep liquidity. And the stakers are happy because the volume keeps accumulating more USDC for them, right? So the stakers are happy because they can keep staking their BRL tokens that keeps becoming scarcer and more liquid, right? While they're receiving USDC distributions. The traders are happy because look at the amount of stakers are here. Look how many people are staking. As we speak, over 72% of the entire supply is staked. So imagine how the traders feel. The traders are coming in like, whoa, 72% of the supply is staked and the token is that liquid, and liquidity keeps getting deeper and deeper with every buy and sell, with every trade, and the supply keeps shrinking as well. I mean, come on. I'm very confident and I can confidently trade as a trader because 70%, 74 or 72% of the supply is locked away from circulation. The total supply keeps shrinking. The liquidity keeps getting deeper. It's heaven for traders, right? And like I said, stakers are happy too because the more traders are trading and the deeper the liquidity gets, the more USDC distributions they're getting, right? And the holder is happy because the supply keeps shrinking, the liquidity is deeper, and the supply is being locked away. Over 72% of the supply is locked away. I'm holding an asset that is scarce, liquid, and it's locked away from circulation. So this is the type of asset or ecosystem you want to be part of, entering this massive run, a new era of liquidity. That's the bottom line, community. That's the message for today, community. And why am I stressing so much on solving these 4 challenges? Because many still don't understand the importance of solving these 4 challenges and doing them all at the same time. So the first one is lack of liquidity. We are retaining liquidity. Second one is inflation. We are scarce. Third one is lack of unsustainable staking distributions. We are solving it. We are giving you USDC distributions, and it's based on volume. Volume is fed by the liquidity that we are accumulating. So it's efficient and sustainable. And the fourth one is efficient use of volume, like we just discussed. As long as you have liquidity, you will have volume. As long as you have volume, you'll retain even more liquidity. You'll be even more scarce, and you'll accumulate a lot of USDC distributions for your stakers. It's a win, 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 triple win for the trader, for the holder, for the staker. Everybody wins. And that's the beautiful thing about our ecosystem. And this is why we stress so much on 4 challenges that we are addressing, right? And in this industry, Correct me if I'm wrong, but there is no ecosystem out there that is addressing these 4 challenges all at the same time. Now, this brings us to, this is how I want us to close this session today. Keep in mind, these 4 challenges that we are addressing right now, right? And it seems like the industry has not caught up yet with these 4 challenges, addressing these 4 challenges. And this is how I want us to close this session today, community. Keep this in mind. 4 challenges being addressed. The industry has not caught up with that yet. Now let's close this session today with this. How PayPal revolutionized online payments, right? Let's close out with this, community. Why is it so important to close out with this? We need to understand one thing, community. In the year 2000, before PayPal, people were sending checks through mail, and they had to wait for their banks to clear it. There was no online payment. Before PayPal, there was no online payment. So literally 24 years ago, that's not a long time. 24 years ago, you were unable to literally do online payments. Either you had to pay by cash, or you had to go physically to the merchant, or write a check and mail it. But online, there was no options for you to pay online prior to 2000. So PayPal revolutionized this. So people were comfortable writing checks, mailing it. People were comfortable not being able to pay online, right? And PayPal came in and saw the issue. They saw the challenge. They saw the situation. And what did they do? They focused on coming up with something that is efficient and that is sustainable. And this is how they revolutionized the online payment. Now, just briefly, and there's a reason why we're closing with this. Let's go through this really quickly, and we'll just hit the highlights. So, as you see here, PayPal's solution was simple, but revolutionary. To be revolutionary, it doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be complicated and over the top. Usually, the things that are revolutionary are actually very simple, very basic, very easy, common sense. Nothing really over the top, right? It's very simple. What did they do? It created a digital wallet that allowed users to securely send and receive money online. The system used email addresses to identify users, and transactions were processed in real time. Keep in mind, this is the year 2000. This is when the dot-com bubble was getting ready to burst. This was when the internet was just new, right? It just came, the technology was just brand new. So they found out that there is a challenge that is not being met right now. And they addressed this challenge. And it wasn't something over the top. It was really simple and common sense. Like everybody would have thought about this, right? And they came up with it. They found a solution. They added value to it. And in real time, they created a transaction where you can use your email addresses and process in real time, right? Now, let's look at it in more detail. Let's look at the timelines here, right? And keep the timeline in mind. So in December 1998, PayPal was just founded then, right? And let's not worry about the original name, but just for the sake of information, they were first called Confinity, right? Between a wordplay between confidence and infinity. And then in October 1999, a company engineering produces an email-based payment technology. So in 1999, they just came up with a new payment technology that is using your email address to process your payments. And keep in mind, that was back then when internet was just booming. People were just getting used to email and computers and all of that, right? Now, this is what's interesting. January 2000, what happened then? PayPal founders and managers, they noticed. They never campaigned for it. They never intended for it to happen. They actually just noticed that end users are out there on the internet asking commercial partners and other buyers to sign up for PayPal to foster quicker payments. And almost immediately, PayPal paves the way for another company known as eBay. So eBay as a company, they were telling their commercial partners and buyers to sign up for PayPal. eBay was. So eBay was the one doing the job for PayPal. PayPal didn't even know about eBay. And this gave PayPal a significant base, user base, right? And this is how they grew extremely fast. Now I want you to keep in mind, October 1999, everything happened very, very quickly. So if we continue here, by March 2000, so barely 1 year later, not even a year later, just literally 4 months, 5 months later, they already hit 1 million customers, right? In June, they ditched Confinity for PayPal. That's just logistics. And now they went public, right? In February 2002, a year later, they went public. Now, keep in mind, when did they launch a company? When did they launch the payment-based system? October 1999. So exactly 3 years later, to the month, which is October 2002, what did they do? They sold PayPal to who? To eBay. The same individuals, the same company that was telling their commercial partners and users to sign up for PayPal. Eventually, they sold it to them because eBay was an online commerce company, but they didn't have an online payment system. People were paying either cash, you were driving to get your item that you bought on an auction, or you were mailing out your check, you had to wait until it cleared to get your product. So it was convenient for eBay to buy PayPal because now they could use PayPal's online payment system for their online auction company, right? So they ended up selling 3 years to the date. They ended up selling PayPal to eBay for $1.5 billion, right? And this was touted a marriage between digital auction and online payment service, right? And this is the PayPal. These are part of the PayPal mafias. Of course, the founders were Peter Thiel, right? He went on to develop a bunch of other companies. Elon Musk, we all know Elon Musk, right? One of the wealthiest individuals in the world. And also part of this PayPal mafia were also YouTube founders, right? LinkedIn founders, Yellow founders, and so many more. So they went on as a bunch of group of friends. They went on taking their profits they made for selling PayPal and moved on. But what's the takeaway here? Why am I telling this story? It's because before 2000, not even they knew that there is a company known as eBay. eBay is the one who found out about PayPal and was encouraging their commercial partners and their buyers to sign up for PayPal. So if you do things right and you think ahead of the curve and you solve a problem like PayPal did, opportunity is going to come look for you, right? Nobody even thought about creating something like that, addressing this challenge. Not even eBay themselves, even though they were an online auction company. You would think naturally they would think of something like this, but they didn't, right? So what's the takeaway here? Solve problems. If you get into a new industry, using a new technology, look around and find challenges in that industry. Once you identify those challenges, address them. Once you address them, implement them. How do you address them? By implementing them into your smart contracts, like we said, right? It's in a smart contract. What does the smart contract do? It bans tokens from the total supply. It's addressing inflation. What else does it do? Well, it has great incentives for staking. So 72% of the supply is being staked. Okay, good. What else does it do? Well, it retains liquidity, right? What does liquidity do? It generates volume. What else does it do? It uses its volume efficiently to retain even more liquidity, to burn even more tokens and become even more scarce. And then it gives USDC incentives in an efficient and sustainable manner. That's an ecosystem that is solving challenges. Just same like during this new technology era in the late 1990s, a small group of friends came and solved a challenge, and that was an online-based, email-based payment technology. Simple, nothing really over the top. And that caused opportunity to look for them. And that opportunity was called eBay, right? So if you have the opportunity to be part of an early technology like PayPal was, they had the opportunity to be early on in this technology during the internet. First thing you need to do, look for challenges. There's so many challenges, so many things that you can address. Once you can address, what's this market? What's the market cap right now? So this is $1 trillion industry. So when you can find or solve challenges for $1 trillion industry, you're supposed to be $1 trillion company, $1 trillion ecosystem, right? So the bigger the challenges you solve, the bigger the rewards, right? And we'll leave it at that. The bottom line, the moral of the story, the takeaway is we have an opportunity to be early on in this industry. And there's 4 challenges that are plaguing this industry. And PayPal just solved 1. We're solving 4 of them, right? And we're using this technology in these early stages to be part of solution. We don't want to be part of the problem. We want to be part of the solution, right? So our ecosystem is primed, community, for this new liquidity era. And how are we primed? By solving 4 challenges in the industry and having an efficient and sustainable ecosystem. That's the message for today, community. If there's any takeaways, then that was the message for today, right? Let's be ready for this liquidity rush that we're about to experience. We're about to experience a liquidity rush, community, and we don't want to be left out. We want to be in the midst of it, right? So with that said, community, that's the message. I'd like to come back to you, check with you, read the comments. Maybe you have any feedbacks, questions that you need more clarity on. We can go through them. I really just wanted us to get a good grip of the message today and really understand the impact that this interest rate cuts are having for the rest of the year in 2024, for the entire 2025 and even beyond, right? So the interest rate cuts are still happening for the next 18 months. And we all understood and so clearly today how correlated Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency industry is with liquidity. The more liquidity there is, the higher the price of Bitcoin goes, right? So now imagine locking that liquidity in within an ecosystem for the community to have it there for trading. What impact that will have, right? So let's keep that in mind, community. And let's come and go through your comments here. Queen Lati says, greetings, Bullrun family. What an honor and privilege to be part of this family where we wait with enthusiasm to hear what our crypto professor Steve had to say. Take us on, our king. Queen Mom, thank you. Thank you so much, Queen Lati. You're very much appreciated for your feedback, for your kind words. and always for your consistency, your thirst for more, for education. It's very inspiring. We appreciate you very much, Queen Latte. My brother Eric is here. He says, ready for another opportunity to learn and earn. Thank you, our mentor Steve, brother Steve, and Mom Awino. Thank you so much, brother Eric. We appreciate you very much for your consistency, for being part of these sessions. You don't miss any sessions. We always see you. You're very active. You're very involved. You're very consistent. My brother Marcelo says, hello, Bullrun. Hope everyone is doing well. Great job. We are getting noticed. Keep up the great dedication. Will pay off in the near future. Absolutely. And we're all doing it together as a unit. And we're making a lot of noise on these various platforms, and it's all organic, right? All organically. That's the most beautiful thing. We have no bots or any of that. And the way we make noise out there is through putting out informative, educational comments, content, and that's exactly what we need, right? It's not just a bunch of rockets and moon, but we are talking about facts, right? We're informing, we're educating about our fundamentals, about the challenges in the industry. And these sessions go beyond our ecosystem. We talk about monetary systems, inflation, cycles, and so many more things, right? That we need to know in general. So thanks for your comment here as well. We have Queen Alice. She says, greetings, Steve, our queen and community. It's a great Thursday. A question on what happened yesterday. What if the interest rates were not cut? What could happen? We will never know. We will never know, Queen Alice, because they were cut. But let's play along and say they were not cut. It would have caused a huge sell-off, because whenever the market doesn't get what they anticipate or what they want, it reacts with fear. And what happens if people are fearful? They sell, right? So this is the reason why you see today the market is really booming, for the simple fact that the market got what they wanted and some more, right? And this is exactly how the industry works. But let's play along that, like we said, if the interest rates were not cut, it would have been a shock. And the industry doesn't like to be surprised. They don't like surprises. They want to know what's coming, right? And if there was no interest rate cut, we would have been having a red day today. It would have been a horrible day. And also, it's time for the interest rates to be cut, because actually, in my humble opinion, it's behind, right? And this is obviously also the reason why the interest rates were cut by 0.5%. and not 0.25, right? To catch up, really, to ensure that the inflation is really taken care of, especially ensuring that the markets are starting to be liquid again, because the market is not growing, right? So this the best answer I can give you, Queen Alice. But great question, great question. Queen Evelyn says, BRL, 1,000 BRL, 1,000 BRL, let's go. BRL train is taking off. Beautifully said, Queen Evelyn. And Queen Resego is Queen Resego is just bringing up the vibration, causing the community to really be hyped. Always nice to see you, Queen Resego, as well. Queen Val says, hello family, happy Thursday. Hope we are all doing amazing. Can't wait to hear from our king. Thank you very much, Queen Val, for your input, for your feedback. You're also very, very much appreciated for all the efforts you're putting in. Queen Patricia says, good evening, family. Happy to be here again to listen to our developer. He always delivers, never disappointed us ever since. Stay protected and blessed always. Thank you so much, Queen Patricia. You are very much appreciated for your kind words. We welcome them. You are also very much appreciated. May you also stay protected and blessed. Queen Gloria says, waya family, good evening. Good evening back to you too, Queen Gloria. Always a pleasure seeing you. Queen Resego says, good evening, family. Today is the most exciting day ever. Can't wait for our King Steve to break it and make it plain. I hope the message came across, Queen Resego. Thank you for enthusiasm, and thank you for always showing up and being so consistent. Queen Val had put out the tweets, like we said, Killer Whale, Survivor, and Bullrun. They were all out. Community, those that have not yet, please let's engage with the tweets. Let's ensure that we engage with the tweets as we go through these comments. Queen Patricia says, hello, Bullrun family and Brother Steve. Another beautiful day of more education, more enlightenment, more empowerment. We are more than blessed. Thank you so much, Queen Patricia. You're very much appreciated. And yes, this is what we're all about. We always aim and ensure that we want to inspire, inform, educate the community so that we are all on the same page. Queen Grace says, greetings, Steve, our mom, and the larger family. The topic of today puts a lot of anticipation in us, eagerly waiting to hear more from our one, Mr. Steve. Thank you for your tireless efforts to educate. Thank you so much, Queen Grace. You're also very, very much appreciated for your consistency, your efforts, all that you do for the community. You're very much appreciated. And as we see here, okay, there's another tweet that came out, the Bullrun tweet. For those that have not yet, please let's engage with those tweets. And what do we see here? My brother Theo says, greetings, my brother Steve, dearest great Queen Mama Wino and epic BRL family. Thank you, great professor, for continuing to educate, inspire, and empower us all. You are very much appreciated. Thank you very much, my brother Theo. You're also very, very much appreciated. Queen Tomelezzo says, good evening, our developer, Brother Steve, Mama Wino, and the Bullrun family, waiting for our developer to educate and inspire us. Always a pleasure to see you, Queen. Thank you for your participation. We are happy to have you here with us today. It's always such a pleasure having you with us. And then we have Queen Goleba. Hello, Mr. Steve, Queen Mom, and my family. This one, the topic we have been waiting for, has arrived. Thanks, our mentor, for caring for the community. It's not easy, but with God guidance, you did it. This is the beautiful thing, community. We all in this together. We all work together to ensure that we achieve success, that we are all on the same page, that we have the education information to put us at ease, right? And these are things that are very important for us, community, to understand, to embrace. And we are all very, very happy. We are very excited to be able to have such a community, such a platform that is very inspired. And we can't thank the community enough, right? So we have Queen Debbie is here as well. Says, greetings, community. Greetings to you, Queen Mother Awena, and my brother Steve. I'm looking forward to this amazing session. Always a pleasure having you here with us as well, Queen Debbie. And you're also very much appreciated for all the efforts that you put in. Queen Kosi says, greetings to Mama Wino, the best developer, Brother Steve, and our Bullrun family. Hoping you are all well and excited. I am eager to be educated, inspired, and informed. So such a pleasure seeing you here. Thank you for taking your time for being part of this session today, Queen Kosi. Always a pleasure having you or seeing you in the community as well. And also Queen Val puts the Telegram links here, community for the Bullrun Telegram here as well. Feel free to join our community. We are very active, like we said, on Telegram, on YouTube, and on Twitter. So join our community. We welcome you with our open arms. Feel feel free, feel at home, and be part of our community. Queen Maruta says, eager to learn more today. Thank you. Welcome, Queen Maruta. It's a pleasure having you here with us in the community. Here's another link to our Telegram as well to join our community. We have Queen Aloshi says, hello family. I am very proud. I'm a very proud member of the Bullrun ecosystem by choice after informed decision, enabled by the very informative education session by Dev Steve. Thanks, Brother Steve and Mama Wino. It's a pleasure, Queen Aloshi. We are very pleased, humbled having you in the community, and we can't stress enough of how we appreciate the community's consistency of participating in these community events and helping to put the word out, right? Uncle George says, hello, Steve. Hi, Queen Mother and all Bullrun community. We thank God for opportunity to be around to witness and be part of the Bullrun season. Like I said, we reap what we sow. It's time to reap. Absolutely, Uncle George. Well said. You know, we've been putting a lot of effort. We've been putting so much work. We've been so committed. We've been so consistent, and all this is getting ready to pay off, right? All this is getting ready to pay off, and there's nothing more beautiful than doing something as a community, you know. And humans, we naturally always want to have a belonging, be part of something bigger than ourselves. And this is our chance. This is our opportunity, right? And we have so many things going for us, like we saw. The interest rates are finally cut. The liquidity is about to stimulate the economy. We are in the right industry. We are on the right platform, right? We are on the right blockchain. We have the right community. And with all these educational sessions, it helps us to really prepare mentally, not to be emotional, but to be ready, right? So very well said, Uncle George. My brother Abdullah, he says, warm greetings to you all, and a very special one to Queen Mother Wino and King Steve. Thank you so much, my brother. And all these greetings right back to you. You are very much appreciated for all your efforts that you put in. You and your comrades, the usual suspects on Twitter, you're very much appreciated. Queen Cynthia says, greetings community. Hi, Steve and Queen Mother Wino. I'm happy to be here to be educated, free, timely knowledge as it's at its best. We embody major whales energy. Beautifully said, Queen Cynthia. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. You're very, very much appreciated as well. Queen Mother Wino herself says, greetings to our queens and kings. Hope all is well with you all, family. The strength of the team is of each member, right? The strength of each member is the team. We have such an amazing community. Yes, we do. We have really an amazing community. And to just realize that we grew so quickly and organically, right? And that's the most beautiful thing. And how we can rally behind ourselves, behind our ecosystem, how consistent we are, all the efforts we put in. Finally, we reached a point where interest rates are being cut, liquidity is being stimulated into the economy. We are reaching easy money era, where a new liquidity era is upon us. And this is now this is what we've been waiting for all this time. So community, like Queen Mother said, we have the most amazing community ever. Thanks, Steve, for all your hard work to educate and enlighten us. Thank you to my mom for all the efforts, leadership, commitment that you put in, day out, for doing all these tweets since January for 9 months straight, every single day, committed consistently. Thank you for leading by example and being the queen that you are to all of us. My brother Abdullah, he says, what are the drivers behind this new era? How will it impact traditional financial system? What opportunities and challenges arise? How will regulations adapt? What role will technology play? These are questions you asked prior to the session, and I'm sure these questions were answered Please let me know if not, and if you need more clarity, I'll be happy to elaborate even more. However, I see that you are asking before I went through today's session. So please, Brother Abdullahi, let me know in the comment whether your questions were answered, right? And let me know if you need more clarity on them. Amazing questions, Brother Abdullahi, as always. Queen Esther says, hi, Steve and Bullrun family. Glad to be here again tonight. Grateful that you keep imparting knowledge so willingly. May God bless you truly. Thank you so much for always being part and active in these sessions, always being committed, always showing up consistently. You're very, very much appreciated. Thank you so much for your kind words. And, we're always happy to see you in the community as well, Queen Esther. Mother Caroline, it's always a pleasure seeing you, Mom. And thank you, son, for providing the information with passion and enthusiasm. And thank you for giving of yourself. I commend you. Thank you so much, Mom. We are very much appreciated, Mom Caroline. And it's very inspiring to always see you supporting, being part of these sessions. And your kind words are very much welcomed. Thank you very much as well. Queen Grace, hello Steve, Queen Mother and BRL family, another great session. Thank you so much, Queen Grace. Always a pleasure seeing you also in the community, always participating in these events. Very much appreciated for your consistency as well. Queen Debbie says, we are officially in a new era of liquidity. Powerful point, my brother. Thank you so much for your feedback, Queen Debbie. You're very much appreciated. And yes, that's the beautiful thing. We are finally in that new era of liquidity, and we'll make the best out of it, right? We are positioned to make the best out of it. Queen Belinda says, new era indeed. I'm most excited. Evening leaderships. Good evening back to you, Queen Belinda. It's a pleasure having you here with us today. Queen Nosy says, good evening, Bullrun family. It's another great day again, Brother Steve. Thank you for the informative, educative, and inspirational presentation. Thank you to our Queen Mother Owino. Thank you so much for your feedback. You're very, very much appreciated, Queen Nosy. And our Zoom operator, Queen Val, we love you all. Excuse me. Thank you so much, Queen Nosy, for your feedback and your kind and warm words. You're also very, very much appreciated, Queen Nosy. And yes, Queen Val is literally hosting Val sessions on Zoom. And we all appreciate her very, very much for her leadership, commitment, consistency. And so do we, everybody else in the community, all the queens and kings that are going above and beyond, that are leading by example. You're all very much appreciated. We're all chipping in and adding value in our own way that we can. Queen Lydia says, good evening, family. This is the day we have been waiting for. Absolutely. Absolutely. We've literally been waiting for this day yesterday so that we can finally, go through this liquidity era. Queen Tuzo says, hi, BRL family. Hello, right back at you as well. Queen Brother Glenn says, let's hit that like button. Yes, let's engage. Let's ensure that we're engaging with community with this tweets and also with this video. It's very important for us to do so, as it will reach as many people as possible. And this is exactly what we need. This is exactly what we anticipate in community. Queen Debbie says, on it, Brother Glenn, absolutely. Let's do so, community, as it will trigger the algorithm. Brother Mike says, good evening, Bull Runners. Hope everyone is well. Always nice to see you, my brother Mike, as well. Glad to see you in the community. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic. It's been a while. We haven't collabed in a while. I hope you're doing great, my brother. Brother Glenn says, good day, BRL family. This is our time. We all are in a great position. Thank you, Steve. for the continued educational videos and an amazing platform that solves the liquidity problems in crypto. Absolutely, Brother Glenn. It's always a pleasure also to see you in the community. We see you out there making a lot of noise, and thank you for your kind words as well. Brother Mike says, let's do this. Absolutely, my brother. That's exactly what we need to do. Let's do our part, and everything else is falling in line and working in our own good. And like you see, the last topic we discussed with PayPal, you never know. We should just keep focused, solve these challenges, address these challenges. Let's be consistent. Everybody, chipping in, doing what we need to do, grow through network effect, and go through this liquidity era successfully. And as we're growing as a community, and before we know it, major doors are about to open for us. And as we're growing organically, naturally, this is the best way to do it, because things done naturally, organically, will last because they're built on a solid foundation, right? It takes longer, it's harder, however, it lasts, right? Queen Bogo says, hi, Steve and Bullrun family. Excuse me. Thanks for making us understand what it means by cutting interest rates. A win-win-win situation makes it more sustainable for us. Let's all understand and embrace it. Beautifully said, Queen Bogo. This is a beautiful summary that you just put together here. You're very much appreciated. Thank you for your feedback as well. Very, very much appreciated. And also here, we have my brother Marcelo says, this is why I will go down in history for the best inspector in the world. Steve gets me. Very much appreciated, brother Marcelo. Brother Theo says, another absolute masterclass. So much important, exciting information shared and perfectly broken down, so even a novice like myself can digest and share with confidence. Thanks again, my great brother. Thank you so much, great brother Theo. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic. Thank you for your kind words. Very much appreciated. Very, very much appreciated. Salute right back at you too, my great brother Theo. Queen Grace says, thank you, Steve. Very powerful session there. The subject on liquidity is now very clear. The more the liquid, the more liquid, the higher the volume. Yes, exactly. In BRL ecosystem, we are unstoppable. Absolutely, Queen Grace, absolutely. And that's the whole idea, right? We want to take the momentum as we go through this bull cycle, retain as much liquidity, generate much volume so that we are efficient and sustainable, and we can keep on growing beyond the bull cycle, right? Brother Demo says, I hope everyone is doing well. Thanks for another amazing session, Brother Steve. I always wondered if you have any skills in programming or coding. Self-taught, yes, absolutely. I do. I didn't have the background, but eventually I taught myself how to program, how to code. I do. Prominent affairs. Good evening, Steve. Mama Wino and Bullrun community. This is another exciting day to be educated, informed, and inspired. Beautiful to have you here with us today as well. Thank you for your feedback. And nice to have you here with us today as well. Brother Cryptorizer, always a pleasure seeing you, my brother Cryptorizer as well. Hello, Bullrun family. Thank you, Steve, for another amazing session. Bullish for our future. Brighter days ahead, family. Good to see you, Mike. Thanks for showing up. Everyone, have a blessed day. Thank you so much for your kind words and acknowledging the community and everybody else. And we wish you just as an amazing and blessed day as well. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. Brother Abdullahi says, all questions were fully answered during session and very well clarified. Thank you and very much appreciated, Steve. Thank you so much, Brother Abdullahi, for the feedback. I was wondering whether your questions were answered. Those were amazing questions that you raised, and you are very much appreciated for your proactivity and for always being engaged, active, your leadership. Very much appreciated. Brother Dave says, I was watching a popular crypto stream, and they say that there is no crypto project that doesn't drop when Bitcoin goes down. And all I could do is laugh. Ignorance is bliss, and I'm glad that you had a good laugh, Brother Demo. I'm glad that you do. That just shows that you're very well informed, you're very well educated, and that you know and you appreciate the ecosystem for what it has, right? And with that said, community, I want to thank you all for being part of this session today. You are all very, very much appreciated. The comments are amazing. The feedbacks are amazing. The engagement is great. This is how we grow, community. This is how we really ensure that we develop and grow this global decentralized community, which our aim is to grow and have that network effect, right? We know how to grow and add value to our ecosystem is by growing in numbers, right? Being a bigger community. And it's not enough to just have a large crowd and a large community, but our aim is to be an informed and educated and an inspired community that we are. We are very humbled, Mom and myself, to be part of this amazing community with such amazing and wonderful individuals. And we are very humbled to have you all. Thank you for your commitment, your consistency, your participation, and for enabling us to grow so efficiently and effectively and organically. With that said, I hope the message came across today. We are in a new era officially, since yesterday, in a new liquidity era, right? And this is where we thrive the best. This is where now all tides raises all boats. This is where fundamentals count. This is where efficiency and sustainability stand out. And this is the industry that is brand new, that is at the same time an asset class. And what we need to understand and take away of today is that take advantage of a new industry. Look around, find challenges within this new industry, solve these challenges, address them, implement them in the form of a smart contract. Remember what we always say, wealth is simple. Add value to the masses, to as many people as possible, and do it better than anybody else, right? This is our challenge to ourselves, community. Each and everybody in this community, this is our mantra, this is our aim, this is our goal, is to add value in each other's lives and do it better than anybody else. Whatever our skills are, whatever we are good at, let's add value to each other's lives, to this ecosystem. And this is how we'll become the best in the industry, right? By everybody doing what they know best, right? And chipping in and do it in a consistent manner. And this is how we'll grow and achieve our fullest potential, right? So with that said, community, I want to really thank you all for all your efforts. Thank you for all that your consistency, your commitment, for taking your time on this Thursday to be part of this session today. It was another large, crowded day today. We hit over 70 individuals, I believe, at some point. Queen Maureen says, thanks for your answer. Thanks be to God for the cut. I'm very glad that it was that you were able to be answered. Your question was able to be addressed, Queen Maureen. Thank you for your feedback and your question as well. And yes, we are all very happy about the cut, definitely. So with that said, community, I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you once more for being such an amazing community. And it's a pleasure being part of this ecosystem. And it's amazing to be part of this amazing community. I wish you a wonderful rest of your week. Stay blessed, stay focused, and we're in a new era, community. And this era is here, and we're here to make the best out of this era, right? And go beyond this bull cycle. And we have everything going for us, community, that we're in the right place at the right time. We are on the right, we're in the right industry, on the right blockchain, in the right ecosystem with the right people, right? So with that said, bye-bye, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Until we see again or hear again, stay blessed, stay focused, stay safe. Bye-bye, everyone.